Hello, everyone. I am Kazumata.
お世話になっているわけでありますが、すでにご案内の通り、事故からですね、10年8ヶ月が。
As you know, 10 years and 8 months have passed since the disaster, and I will be talking about the agricultural side of things. And I would like to begin by the 2020 survey by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forest and Fisheries. They did a survey on agricultural products, distribution of them from Fukushima Prefecture, and this was published in March 2021. And I will not go into the details, perhaps you can check them yourselves, but at any rate, I would like to show you the major results. And this, first of all, involves the price recovery has not been achieved as of yet, as many of you know. And this survey result is around 6 pages long. And from my perspective, we have rice. And as for the rice, there's been a significant drop in the prices this year. And in terms of agricultural products, luxury items, especially in terms of the comparison with the prices of luxury items, there's been significant drop in the price of rice. So if there is a sufficient volume of rice, of course, before the disaster, we were being able to sell the rice, but after a certain amount, depending on the item, our price is still affected by the impact of the disaster. So this is a general tendency. And this is, of course, the survey taken by the government. And of course, for the marine products like flatfish, the tendency, the trend is the same. And in this context, especially we need to look at the perception of the end user, as well as the wholesalers. And we need to look at both perceptions differently. There are differences, there's a gap between the two. So before the disaster, the wholesalers who used to deal with the Fukushima products, for example, they, after the earthquake, could move to other suppliers, to other prefectures. And they have already secured a sufficient amount of shipment from those suppliers in other prefectures. And this is the result of the rumors. And if you go through these slides yourselves, there is generally the tendency of the luxury items. And within this context, this is about the Alps cross-treated water. So as already mentioned by the presenter just now, there's been a government decision made to discharge the water into the ocean. So that was in April. And in April of that month, there is a network called the Fukushima Prefecture Local Producer Local Consumption Network. And most of the fishery people, they were opposed, and that is obvious. And also the cooperatives, they were also opposed, and they issued a joint statement in April the 30th. And in the prefecture, the JA, the agricultural cooperatives in Fukushima Prefecture, we had a general assembly, and we said we are opposed, but on the other hand, we requested other safe processing methods to be adopted in a special resolution. So this was this year, the developments this year. And as for the issues, I think that, of course, this effect by the rumors is still continuing, and this will revive if they were to discharge. So there's an issue, efforts made in decontamination. And the one issue is the water bubbles. And this will affect not only the agriculture and forestry, but also tourism as well as other industries. There is a trend, there will be a tendency that the industry will be damaged as a result. And of course, outside of the recovery areas, we have different municipalities, and they also have their own issues. So we need to think about both within the recovery areas and outside the recovery areas. So that is my personal view. And also what will be required. As already mentioned about the Alps process treated water, we had a very good presentation. I think the important thing is about how we disseminate information, how the government, how the TEPCO disseminate information. And the public will receive that information in different ways. Of course, there is a technical development in terms of the Alps treatments. And on the second item I indicated on my slide is that we need information that is easy for the public to understand by using numbers as well as scientific data. This needs to be properly disseminated and published. I think this is very essential. And thirdly, so we have had various misconduct by the Tokyo Electric Power Company. This is not only about the nuclear power plant in Fukushima, but also in the Kariwazawa nuclear power plant. So from the perception of the public, they would say, again, the TEPCO has come up with another misconduct. So there is a organizational problems that TEPCO has. That is the people's general impression. So that is a challenge that needs to be addressed. So of course, the people on the front lines are making significant efforts to improve. But from my perspective, there are, for example, the other different kind of operators working under the TEPCO. And for example, there might be a gap or division in terms of information sharing, and that could lead to a disaster, another accident. So this structure requires a long period, so that there is no gap in information sharing. And they also need to, while publicizing information quickly, they need to ensure that the public do not mistrust the information that comes out. And in terms of the rumors, we had the effect of rumor on the rice price, and that there is no longer measurement taken for other prefectures, in other prefectures, but we need to have that information published and also expressed in terms of numbers. And for example, the dried persimmon, there's still impact from the disaster. And we are monitoring every dry persimmon that is harvested. So we need a better management structure. And also we need to communicate that to the general consumers. So this kind of structure needs to be improved. Otherwise, this treatment water issue would cause mistrust among the public. So this really needs to be worked out. And I think the numbers, the use of numbers is very important. Also in terms of the health effects. And we did, and the government did organize various kind of meetings, but we were actually not asked to participate either. So there's only limited information is available. So there needs to be more detailed response, more to promote better understanding. Of course, 100% understanding is not achievable, but things need to be improved. And of course, with respect to the rumors, the TEPCO, if they were to discharge, this will cause another rumors. And the TEPCO has announced that they would complement the damage. And we already have such kind of system to complement the damage. And in terms of statistics, we need to understand exactly, concretely, what they're going to do. Of course, they say they will make repayment for the damage, but there is no clear, concrete information. We do not know what will actually happen. They need to work this out too. Otherwise, for us, people working in the local areas cannot feel safe. So I think not only about whether we agree or disagree, but going beyond that, we need to have certain kind of a roadmap indicated, shared with us. And they say they might be discharging the water for like 30 or 40 years. And for people like me, I will probably not be living that long. So the question is, what effect will it have on the future generations? So we need to think about what is best for the future generations of children. So this also needs to be taken into consideration. And this is about time that this kind of discussion is held. So I've only touched upon the part of my slides, but due to the time constraints, but we think that we need to have proper information provided to the people in the prefecture. So that is my view, and this is my recommendation. And I would like to conclude my presentation for today. Thank you very much.